I've been working on the ferry for 3 years and 5 months.
First time I worked on the ferry was 2005, but I've been steady for 17 years. The pay is pretty decent. It's all right. Most of us work for the time off.
In the engine room, so I do a lot of watch standing, which is keeping an eye on the engines and generators while we're underway. We do a lot of all the maintenance and repair on most of the ship. We do a lot of fabricating, rebuilding pumps, stuff like that. A lot of engine stuff.
I'm a chief engineer on the Columbia.
It varies. It's physically it's not a super hard job, but when we're in yards and we're doing our yearly overhaul, we do a lot of physical work.
It can be very demanding sometimes. We run a big crew, so there's a lot of things going on a 50-year-old boat. Things break all the time, so we're constantly fixing things, and it can get pretty tiring.
The boat I work on can be, because we work 12 hours on, 12 hours off, so even on easy days you're pretty tired at the end of the day.
Sometimes it's very tiring. Sometimes you're up in the middle of the night, and then you might get to sleep for a few hours, then you're called back down because you're on there 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. Anything can happen.
Yes, they're very supportive. I've learned so much in the last 3 years from my coworkers. It's pretty amazing.
We have a great crew, and it takes everybody to actually run the ship.
The best experience, just learning all the new stuff. Learning how to diagnose electrical issues, rebuilding pumps, fabricating, lots of fabricating.
That's a tough one. Probably back in the old days when they used to still have the bars were open, there was a lot more travelers, so you had musicians come aboard, and you'd have some great bands get put together impromptu, and sometimes just sitting down in a little off time and listening to that was probably a good experience.
Unclogging sewer lines.
Worst experience, probably several of them, and it's when you're broken down and you can't make the schedule. You know, if you're broken down and you're stuck and the wheelhouse is calling you saying, hey, how long are you gonna be? And you're constantly trying to get it done to leave. Cars are loaded, passengers are loaded. That's probably the worst feeling.
Oh boy. I worked for the barge lines, both of them for about 12 years. I worked for the city for a couple of years. I did some logging, lots of commercial fishing.
I originally got my degree in landscape architecture. I had my own company for 10 years, and one of my customers was the chief engineer for Washington State Ferries. So I went to work for NOAA for 5 years, sailing around the world, and then went to work for Washington State Ferries. Didn't like it, and then came here, last Green Highway.
The best part about working on the ferry, the camaraderie that we have. I love the work. If you like engines and stuff like that, it's great. And the time off's really good too.
Probably the time off. We work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So as you get older, that time off is really valuable. So.
Oh boy, keeping Southeast Alaska connected, keeping all the communities connected.
You live in Wrangell, I live in Wrangell. It's pretty important. Obviously, everybody knows from the schedule that's decreased over the last 15 years, you really realize how important it is, especially for the school kids. Southeast Alaska is pretty dependable on the ferry.
It's very hard. But luckily, with today's technology, I can see you guys every night on the phone, and we talk all the time.
That can be difficult. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks at a time is not too bad. I sailed months at a time before. That's much worse. And my wife is working on the ferry now too at the same schedule. So we actually get to work at the same time, usually on the same boat.
Public service job, so that's what we're there for, is the public. And sometimes it's just one guy riding the boat, getting from one place to another, and we were able to do it. He was able to get where he needed to go, or he, she, their whole family. I've worked on the Laconnie down here, and that's one that always comes to mind. We'd go to Huna and pick up a guy that couldn't ride an airplane, couldn't ride, just in a big wheelchair, and there's no way he's getting on an airplane, and there's no way he's getting there on a small boat, and the ferry would pick him up and take him, I don't know, a couple times a week, once a week, take him wherever he's going, and